baby, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Broadcast. It is Friday, October 17th, 2025. It's the first show that we have done, I believe, since January. I'll have to get producer extraordinaire Craig to check on that for us. We've got Craig with us on the ones and twos. Running a little late here. We haven't fired up StreamYard in a bit, so we're all just remembering how to use it here. But yeah, listen, we had some people who were hitting us up nonstop saying, hey, can we get another episode? Are you going to bring the show back? What's going on? Is Crossing Broadcast dead? Is it alive? Is it on life support? Is it on Saturday? So we said, yeah, let's do a show. Let's do a one-off show. There's a lot that's been going on in the last week or two, as I'm sure you're aware. So it's a combination of people asking us to do a show and all kinds of crazy stuff that was happening at the same time. So joining me to talk about that and more is Trevor Harris from the Upper Bowl Podcast. Welcome back, my friend.
How are we doing? It's been a minute since I've been on the show. Anyways, I'll say this. I remember my schedule every Thursday. It was do one show at 8 a.m., get a workout in, and then come do Crossing Broadcast every day and every Thursday at noon. That was my routine. Now it's glad to be back in that routine anyways. So I'll take it as a Friday.
It's good to have you. I had to log into StreamYard early because I couldn't remember how to use it, and they have all this new stuff on here. Our subscription lapsed, so we're on the free version now, as you can see, powered by StreamYard up there in the corner. Do me a favor and see if you can tilt your camera down a little bit, because you're tripping me the fuck out here. I'm like 10 feet tall, and you're small. It's like we're on the Craig Carton TV show where he's
does that come with Tyrone telling me he's man of the people anyways?
Where Craig Carton's standing and the other two guys are sitting. It always like weirded me out for some reason. But yeah, we're just streaming live on YouTube right now, and then of course we'll have the podcast to give to everybody on wherever they get their podcast. But yeah, we can only do we only stream to one spot specifically because StreamYard upped their costs, and
as someone who pays for it, yeah, it's not fun anyways, as I like to say. I like to say I updated my system anyway, so I could say this anyways.
Only in Miami.
It's because a good old
it's
a Banana Republic StreamYard is now these days anyways. I wouldn't want to charge you for everything.
It is a Banana Republic. Yeah, not the clothing store.
No,
not Banana Republic, Harry.
Nope, not that Banana Republic anyways. So.
Not like a random Caribbean country that we have that the American policies are hurting. Listen, yeah, like I said, we just had Ford is back. Welcome back, Ford. We got Ford, and we've got Connor Allen, and we've got Luke Arcani. So I feel like we're good for the live portion of the show. Now, like I said, man, there's just people hitting us up and being like, "Hey, it's been a while. Can you do a show?" And I think I mentioned at the time when we shut it down that we were just swamped kind of with administrative stuff as we were making the transition from our previous owner to Sport Radar, and we had a lot of like background things that I had to do, and we kind of refocused on our core business model and got back to kind of like straightened out what the new company was looking for and reprioritize some things. But I'll never say no, man. I mean, if there's enough demand for it, if we feel like doing it, I'd be happy to bring the show back. And I don't see why we can't just pop on here every so often and do a one-off kind of thing. Because it's going to pop in people's feeds if people listen to it if they want it. Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. But we're going to go 6 for 6 today.
Oh,
we're going to do. We're going to hit on all the teams. Yeah, we're going to hit on the 4 majors. We will talk about the Shield winning Philadelphia Union. We'll talk about Penn State as well, which is driving traffic at Crossing Broad right now.
They are. They drew. A lot of that traffic also came to the Upper Bowl Podcast as well. Anyways, because me, Jake Rietma, and the Duncan Dad were trying to figure out who will be the next head coach. It will not be Curt Cignetti. Anyways, I'll say that for sure.
It will not be Curt Cignetti. Why don't we start there? Actually, that's a good transition. Yeah, so James Franklin fired after 3 losses in a row, which they also lost Drew Aller for the season. And it's funny, man, because you look at like the national reaction to it versus like the local reaction to it. People up here are like, they were very familiar with the big game James kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that like they, as much winning as they were doing, they were unhappy that he didn't win the big one. So I don't think anybody was surprised by that up here. But you look at like some of the national feedback, it's like, this guy's a winner.
No, he's not.
How could you get rid of him? And then you just point to like, what was the record? 4-21,
4-23 or something like that. Yeah.
or something against like top teams or whatever. So it is what it is, man. I mean, Penn State was basically just at the level of a lot of great programs where it's like you are right here, man, but it's hard to go from great to elite. It's
Yeah.
easy to go from okay to good to average to whatever, but that final spot was elusive to them.
That loss to I say the loss that really killed it was really the UCLA loss at UCLA, which nobody was there anyways. That was a disgrace, and how that was kind of I always said that's kind of the nail in the coffin. If they lose to Northwestern, he should be gone anyways. And lo and behold, it happened. I didn't think Penn State would have the cojones or the balls to fire good old James Franklin anyways, because they were in the college football playoff. They lost to Notre Dame by a field goal anyways. And I was like, well, they can build on something for that, but wow. Things could change within under a year anyways, especially with extensions too anyways and buyouts.
Andy Reid-ish in a way. I mean, if you think about it, because Big Red got the Eagles right to the doorstep for all those years, and then you got to a point where it was kind of like time,
Yeah.
And I see similarities there with James Franklin, but Curt Cignetti from Indiana is off the short list because he signed an 8-year deal with Indiana. Just yesterday, Thursday, and it's funny, man, because he's a Pennsylvania guy, and I asked Grok. The artificial intelligence, and I asked ChatGPT as well. Are there any other coaches who have coached at both Indiana, University of Pennsylvania, and Indiana University? And there are none.
Okay.
So there's your useless trivia for the day. But it's funny that we would even have this conversation of what's a better job, Penn State or Indiana. Imagine thinking that 10 years ago. Did you never have that conversation? Does this coach want to go to Penn State, or does he want to stay at Indiana? I don't think in a vacuum that Indiana is half the job that Penn State is, but Indiana is a better job for Curt Cignetti and what he built there.
Yeah.
And
he's trying to make Indiana be a football school, and he's trying to take whatever he learned from JMU and other schools he learned from the small school, and also what he learned at Alabama too, try and make it as a powerhouse, at least, because we all know Indiana is a basketball school, and they have not been a great basketball school since Victor Oladipo. So it's kind of nice to see how they're finally pivoting to try and become a football school now.
Yeah, it's Indiana football school now, 610-632. Well, they finally got those marquee. Yeah, I mean, the knock on them last year was that they got a bunch of wins, but they didn't beat anybody worth a shit.
Yeah.
And this year, they've already got Illinois and Oregon scalps. So
at Oregon, too, that was a huge one last week. Anyways, nobody was watching anyways. Nobody. Yeah.
But I just think, man, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I've always felt that it's Matt Rule's job to lose. I
don't want him to get I don't want him. It's the same. You're going from, like, when you look at Matt Rule and James Franklin, they're samesies almost. Like Matt Rule, he built Baylor up, he built Temple up, then he went to the pros. He didn't do anything with the Carolina Panthers. Then after that, he went to Nebraska, and like, you have Dylan Raiola, and you're gonna win. You're still gonna get blown out. You're in the same conference still, and you're gonna get your doors blown off by Ohio State and any other big school in USC. Anyways, I just don't see it. It's just a lateral job, anyways. But you have bigger boosters such as the Pagulas up in Buffalo, because they're flipping the bill for James Franklin, anyways. So,
well, I just. I mean, Pat Kraft was Matt Rule's athletic director when he had the success at Temple. And, when you listen to Matt Rule being asked about the Penn State job at his Nebraska press conference, I guess it was Tuesday or Wednesday.
It was, one of those days, yeah.
He spent like the first 60 seconds talking about Penn State and mentioned Pat Kraft a couple times and whatever. And, this is kind of Matt Rule finds his success in college in year number 3. That's what happened at Temple. That's what happened with Baylor. And then he doesn't really, he stayed at Temple for 4 years as head coach. He stayed at Baylor for 3 years as head coach. So, I mean, really, if he gets the 10 wins here with Nebraska, which is doable, I mean, surely he's going to stay on the Penn State short list. I mean, the only thing that's going to take him off of the short list is if they just don't play well down the stretch and they win like 7 or 8 games. But I just don't, I mean, I think you got to keep it simple, man. I mean, that's his alma mater.
Yeah.
That's always been his dream job, we think. And, Nebraska's a good gig, but Penn State's a better gig, especially when you went to school there. So for that reason, I just think that
I'd rather see Greg Schiano, honestly. I think he'd be more entertaining up in Penn State anyways, because he's a bigger budget. Greg Schiano, man. He was the old Miami Hurricanes D coordinator back in the day, and Rutgers head coach currently. I think that would be more entertaining because he coached there as well. He's a great defensive coach. I like how his team plays the E in whistle, and I feel like that's perfect for Penn Staters anyways.
Keep chopping. Yeah. I mean, I remember the good Schiano teams.
Yes.
Back in the day. Yeah. Ray Rice, before he hit his wife or whatever happened there.
Pre domestic abuse, anyways.
Pre-battery Ray Rice,
interstate
Tyquan
batteries.
Underwood, Brian Leonard, all those good Rutgers names. I don't know who else was really. I mean, some people talking about Dan Mullen, who's back in coaching now. He's a Philly guy, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Florida and Mississippi State for a long time. The UNLV is undefeated right now. I mean, they could go for Alex Golish from
USF.
Your boys. You're in Southern Florida. Yeah, Florida.
That's in Tampa. Actually, that's a funnier thing. So
Tampa, yeah.
He's got that program running, anyways. I think most likely, if Billy Napier gets fired, the University of Florida will go to him, and all of his recruits are going to flip to Florida, University of Florida. So that's what I am predicting, anyways. You could always have to watch out for Mike Norvell, but the problem is with Florida State, they just renovated their whole entire stadium. They're kind of acting poor because all the boosters flipped that.
Yeah.
So they don't want to buy out Mike Norvell because he turned Florida State, which was a power D1 school, now to a G5 school, which is sad to see, anyways.
To losing to Pittsburgh at home, I mean,
losing to Pittsburgh, losing to Virginia on the road, and getting blown out by Miami. Anyway,
it's not exactly a Larry Fitzgerald Panthers either, I mean,
nor LaShawn McCoy or Darrell Revis.
Yeah, I mean, Benny Blades ain't walking through that door in 2025.
Not even the 7-4 crew is going to walk in through that door either.
It's good college football talk to start off the.
How excited are you about your West Virginia Mountaineers? I got to ask, since you are a Mountaineer, anyways.
I'm not.
No,
not excited. I have no excitement. I mean, I knew that we were going to suck in Rich Rod's first year, but we were terrible in his first year originally.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of rebuilding that needed to be done. You don't have I think we're learning, like a lot of teams are learning, like if you don't have a quarterback, you're really not going to do much of anything. So he needs to find his quarterback, and he needs to kind of turn some things around, and maybe we'll get it back to the business, as Jose from Norristown used to say. But I'm heading out to Arizona State actually next month, and we're going to go see the game out there. Yeah.
So my buddy's going to that game, by the way. His fiance is one of the reporters for WVU for Blue and Gold, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Right.
So shout out to that, and also.
Other than that,
shout out to Jose too, by the way.
Yeah, other than that, you got the soundboard with you.
I decided to upgrade the pod when we stopped doing Crossing Broad. I was like, okay, let me put some more money into like some NIL into the Upper Bowl podcast, anyway. So
I got to tell you, there was a point where Russ and I were
that.
There was a point where Russ and I were doing this show. I guess in the days after Adam Lefko and Kyle Scott left, and this podcast, nobody really knew what we were going to do with this. And I think we built our own soundboard, and I have it on my phone still. It didn't really work out. Hang on, let's see here.
That's how you play Eagle football.
This is
those Eagles, baby.
Here you go.
The price is wrong, bitch.
It was just a combination of like Half Baked and Happy.
What's your point? What's your point?
Who does that? Who has time? Straight cash, homie.
Oh yeah, the old Bruno and May's soundboard was like online at one point. I don't know. It may.
It's a combination of that and just my own things. I think it's funny, like this.
Get her done.
Like that.
Mercy.
We got to have Hawk Harrelson on the board anyway. Or my favorite one of Jason Jackson.
Ooh wee.
Or this one.
It's like a bat mitzvah up here.
That's what it is, by Jill Martin.
Well, listen, since that was a good terrestrial radio segue here, I'm going to ask you the terrestrial radio question.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles, what's your level of concern, Trevor Harris, with the Philadelphia Eagles right now? 610-632-0975.
We'll take your calls. We'll put a poll up already. I'm at a 6.5, by the way.
A 6.5 out of 10 on the concern.
Yeah, so I was at a 7, and people down at work told me they were chopping me down. They may have gotten a bat to the knee by one of my coworkers, allegedly, but not really.
Could be in too negative.
Way too negative about a Super Bowl winning team. I said the secondary is my biggest question mark anyway, since they got rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Lo and behold, it is the secondary anyways. I think that, and also the pass rush, because they let go. Pretty much everyone went to free agency, not named a draft pick at all by anybody. So that's been my biggest concern with the defense. The offense was my other one, because I was not a fan of Kevin Petula, that choice. I'm not a fan of what's this? I'm blanking on the head coach. Sirianni.
Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni. I'm dealing with Mike McDaniels being a dumbass down here, anyways. Nick Sirianni
He might have the same CTE that Tua is dealing with at this point. You know.
Yeah. So I think Sirianni. I'm just not a fan of him hiring one of his boys or his buddies to be the OC. I just think it's never worked. I just feel like they're doing a very big time disservice to just throwing out good old friend of the program. It's like or like like a union job is with to elevate someone from below beholding doesn't do a good job and they're not going to fire him immediately.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about these OC anyways, and plus the playbook stinks. I was at that Tampa game week 4 and that was the worst second half offense I've ever seen, by the way. Maybe worse than any Seneca Wallace led Cleveland Browns offense in 2011.
Yeah, I honestly have to say that my biggest concern, and I'm not a concern guy, I've tried to listen to the radio this week, and of course you have to have the conversation, and they've lost 2 games in a row. They look like shit in New York, and whatever, but it's just so much. It's like listening. I hate saying, I don't think she can hear me, but I mean, I feel like when I listen to the radio, I'm listening to my wife. Because it's just all worrying.
I am proud to say I have been 7 months strong. I feel like if someone at AA right now. I have not listened to Philadelphia radio. I have not listened to it. And I'd rather have my own opinion, honestly.
I just don't. I think it's like I'm not going to be that guy, because we were criticized in 2023. The site was Crossing Broad was for ignoring, acting like nothing was wrong. And I'm never going to sit here and say that everything's perfect, but I think after watching them just trounce everybody en route to the best Super Bowl, the best performance in franchise history in the Super Bowl, I'm satisfied. I'm not
that's me,
honest, man. I'm satisfied. I don't, if they lost every game for the rest of the year, I'd be like, I still love that Super Bowl run, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not, but I think the one thing that is kind of bugging me right now is the offensive line.
That too. That's my third in command, anyways.
That's your third on your arbitrary list, because I just think, you oftentimes you can trust what your eyes are telling you, and they just are not opening up the holes for Saquon that they were opening up last year, and that's where that offense started and ended. Now, I will give everybody the benefit of the doubt that if there's predictability in the play calling or the sets that they're running and the defense is teeing off on the offensive line and they can tell what's happening here, of course, you're never going to get off a good run block if they've got the jump on you. Putting that aside, Mekhi Becton was a bigger loss, I think, than we're realizing.
That's the one I would go by number 1 on the offensive line.
That's my number 1 is just the guard play overall.
I agree.
Guards, which is funny, man, because I think how often do we talk about guard play?
Never.
In football, especially with the Eagles, because they've had
great offensive line.
Brooks and Landon Dickerson and all these dudes who are amazing,
Todd Harrimans
of this world, and but when I was looking at this, it's kind of hard to quantify this in statistics, but I did pull something here, and I know that Russ's eyes are rolling out the back of his head because he hates when I talk about stats on a podcast. God forbid, as opposed to just doing a bunch of so, but here's a statistic, right? Because you can organize the data based on the holes that they're running. So B gap between the guards and the tackles, right? Last year when Saquon was running through the B gap, 6.12 yards on average.
Wow,
which is ridiculous, right? This year he's only running for 3.7 on average when he runs when he runs to the right of the guards. So I just don't. I think Tyler Steen's been good in pass protection.
Run blocking brutal.
But run blocking, he's not a massive human being like Mekhi Becton was. And then on the left, Landon Dickerson hasn't been healthy from day one, and Brett Toth is really a guy who was a swing tackle playing on the inside now. And if they can't get the run game going, that doesn't really matter.
And if Fred Johnson occasionally has to come in whenever Lane Johnson's hurt, anyways.
Yeah, he's had to play too. And even there were reps in New York where Jordan Mailata was struggling with Brian Burns, as most people probably do.
Yeah.
And Lane Johnson had some reps where he just didn't look good. So, but I don't know. I've seen enough, man, that it's you know what I'm saying? When it's you have witnessed what the ceiling is, and you've seen that they were humming in the second half against the Rams or the first half against the Bucs. And you're I know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So it's not a.
You just see put it all together. It's like baking a cake or making a sandwich almost, or building a beautiful mansion, as John Gruden would say.
So yeah, and I don't have any qualms about Vic Fangio figuring it out if the personnel holds up. I think Quinyon Mitchell's hamstring is the most important hamstring in the greater Philadelphia area right now.
Yeah.
Because they had, when he went out the other night, I mean, Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo both had to go in, and that was after Ringo started and was benched,
Mm-hmm.
and Jackson came in for him, and then Ringo had to come back in for Mitchell. So
The corner play has been brutal. I'm at the point where we may have to put Cooper as a corner, which I don't want to see, but hey, might as well do it anyways.
yeah, it's hard to take Cooper DeJean out of the slot because he's just so good when he's down at the line of scrimmage and kind of reading those shallow routes, and his ability to be a sound tackler up around the box. I mean, he really does a lot of he's like a Malcolm Jenkins if Malcolm Jenkins was a slot corner instead of a strong safety, instead of a box safety, So I hate moving him to compensate for the shortcomings elsewhere. But other than that,
Makuba looks good. I'll say that. He may have some moments, but I'll take Andrew Makuba looks really good, by the way.
he does look good, to the point where I was surprised that more people were not calling for the return of CJGJ.
Oh, that's all over Twitter, and I'm
Well, I mean, it is, but not to the point maybe that I thought it would be. He doesn't play the position they need right now.
No, but he brings people want that personality on that defense. That's what I feel, and they want a voice who I think he'll probably get everything in order. I thought he did a good job in Philly the first time and the second time. I'm still bummed that we traded him to Houston, anyways. I was bummed about it.
So. Well, I think that there's certainly an identifiable pattern here. He's been traded twice by the
3 teams.
By the Eagles. The Lions only gave him a 1-year deal. Yeah, that he didn't work out in the
Saints got rid of him too. Also,
yeah. So I think we can all read, not between the lines, but just read the text clearly on the book of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But he will forever be a Super Bowl champion here, as they went belt to ass.
He is one hell of a Florida Gator. Anyways, he's probably the best Florida Gator safety or defensive player they ever had, next to Javon Curse. Anyways, so
former Philadelphia Eagle, Javon Curse.
Exactly.
What was my final point on the Eagles? There's just one thing I wanted to say.
Carson Wentz revenge game, by the way.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because he was asked about that, and he's like, I don't even think there's anybody on the defense that's still there when I was there.
Cox is everyone's gone anyways, and
and the coaching staff, right? I mean, is there
the kicker's the only person that's left? Jake Elliott,
Jake Elliott, Lane Johnson,
Mailata.
Rick Lovato's gone. No, Mailata was. Well, I'm trying to think of the. Well, yeah, you're right. Since Carson was there, I'm trying to think of the people who are on the Super Bowl team. There's no defensive players though, and obviously the coordinators are all different and whatever. So it's hard to manufacture like a rivalry. Feels like that's a fake news kind of thing. Just trying to hit that like Carson angle or something.
I had it on the Upper Bowl podcast. I thought it was more fun, anyways. So,
this is what I wanted to say. This is my final Eagles point. I don't think that like inevitably, like you see all these 2023 comparisons, and like there's a mystery player that told Jeremy Fowler that he felt like it was 2023 happening all over again. I just don't.
First of all, I don't take Jeremy Fowler's credit at all or sources anyways, because I just think he goes to maybe 3 games a year and he just watches everything from his couch, or he's at every Miami Dolphin game anyways. So
okay.
That's what I go by. I think he's kind of useless anyways, but I'll listen to
Jeremy Fowler guy.
Yeah. No, I'm not. He actually got cussed out by Urban Meyer back in the day when he was working for Orlando Sentinel. So I was very happy.
Oh. Urban Meyer, as you know, a man of character.
Man of faith, too, also.
And a man of faith, allegedly, right? Now, look at Craig actually doing something for the first time.
That's why we pay him the big bucks anyways.
He pulled up the quote from Fowler. It's taken from an ESPN article where he and Dan Graziano are kind of talking back and forth. I don't think we've ever done anything like this at Crossing Broad where we do like a conversation.
No, I think
between our writers.
I think the only thing we've done is when I actually printed out the 50 infallible takes of the Eagles season last year anyways.
Oh, yeah. I remember
that was an all-time moment of me printing it out anyways.
So here's the quote from Fowler. He says, "I was at the game against the Giants on Thursday night and definitely sensed concern. One player told me that this is starting to feel like the 2023 meltdown all over again. and the team needs to use this week to figure things out and avoid a full blown repeat. Now, here's the thing: if the player was Lane Johnson, then it means something. But if the player is Eli Ricks, then nobody cares.
Fuck
You know?
him
So
anyway.
now, what did Eli Ricks do to you?
I don't know. I anyone from the 2023 team, I kind of say I literally do the Hawk
Oh,
too. Like you disgust me, anyways. That's why.
But listen, man, it's like that 2023 team.
Was flawed.
Brian Johnson had never been a coordinator before.
No.
Sean Desai was new to the organization. Kevin Patullo has a lot more, came into this job with a lot more experience in the NFL and at the college ranks, and he was with the organization longer.
Mhm.
And then Vic Fangio was a returning defensive coordinator. So it's different from, it's not the same as 2023. People just making this comparison based on the fact that early they were winning games and it didn't feel like that winning was sustainable.
Yeah.
But that's where it starts and ends to me. I don't see anything more than just they're winning, but I don't feel great about these wins. And
Probably Dan Cilio would say that about anyways. He's not blowing everybody out. Something.
Well,
like
yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's funny to think that Seth Joyner is the voice of reason this week. Telling everybody to relax with the Jalen Hurts criticism.
Yeah.
8 months after the guy won Super Bowl MVP. But it just goes to show a lot of people we don't really know how to handle success.
Oh,
I mean, we're programmed to respond when things aren't going well, and I think that's why you see kind of the
Evan Cohen and ESPN Radio. He's now a Jalen Hurts fan. It's like, dude, I don't need you to be a Jalen Hurts apologist. Just stop. I know you're a Patriots guy, anyways. Just get off our train car, please.
Philadelphia Phillies postmortem continues with Dave Dombrowski and Topper Rob Thompson doing their season-ending press conferences on Thursday. It's funny, man. It's people were really
I was bummed for you guys. I really was. I was ready for Cubs Phillies NLCS. That's what I was ready for. I was looking at plane tickets, everything. I was trying. Where do I go? Do I go to Philly or do I go to Chicago? Anyways, so I'm bummed for you guys.
I mean, the Dodgers are about to sweep the Brewers out of
thank God
the NLCS, and when you look at that, I know people don't want to hear this, but I mean, the Phils ran into the best team left. It was pretty obvious that the Dodgers saved their best for last, and they got the pitching outside of the throwaway Clayton Kershaw game. They got their pitching strategy correct. I mean, the fact that the Phillies pitching did so well against that lineup, and Ohtani couldn't hit anything. Freddie Freeman wasn't doing much. I mean, I think that's what's bothersome. And that series to me did not feel like the Mets series in the sense that the Mets, I didn't think the Mets were a better team than the Phillies. I did think the Dodgers were a better team than the Phillies, and the Phillies battled with the Dodgers despite the lack of hitting, whereas the Mets series felt a little bit like rollover and die-ish.
The Mets series last year was a house of cards. That's what I always considered it as. One thing comes out, the whole thing topples down. This one was not a house of cards. You were there until the end of what happened to the bottom of the 11th anyway. So, and Ford tells it right. He always said the Phillies bats will go cold. I don't know what has happened to the bats in October. It's
this is what annoys me about Ford. Ford comes back and says, I always said it. The Phillies bats will go cold in October. Well, that's not some hot take.
Obvious.
A lot of people were saying that. That's saying a chick who's a 9 out of 10. Well, I think she's hot. Well, no shit. That's what that's what this amounts to. I told you the bats are going to go. Not a. Now we got Russ chiming in here to.
I'll get Russ a link anyways. I miss that.
Russ and Ford are on brand together because you know what they come from that same tree of I told you so. They want to be the first to tell you that this team's going to collapse or fall apart. And I said back in March that this team wasn't going to do shit. I'm like, all right, well,
Do you have the clip ready? I was always saying, if you want to be always right guy, have the clip ready anyway. So
Ford is telling me to F off. So I think we're back. We are back in business here. But I just don't. The Phillies are now square. Everybody compares the Phillies to the Sixers.
Yeah, I was wondering. I don't like that comparison anyways,
But they're more I feel like the Phillies now, and I've said that before, but I feel like the Phillies are closer to James Franklin's Penn State or Andy Reid's Eagles now.
No, I have a better one. The mid-2000s Flyers. They're always on
Yeah.
the doorstep, could not make it to the big one.
Yeah. I mean, because this team won 96 games
Yeah.
this year, you know?
Like the Flyers were like first in the Eastern Conference in 2000, 01, 02, and they both lost the first round. 03, they lost in the second round. 04, they lost in conference finals. It's like the early 2000s Flyers. That's how I see it, anyways.
Yeah, I just don't think that like they're in this situation now where
It's like the Tigers of the early 2010s, late 2010s too. Early 2010s, they were always there, but they fell off. Like they fall off a cliff. That's what always happens with Dombrowski's teams, anyways.
Here's the reality of the situation. You let Schwarber walk, you trade Castellanos or find a way to get rid of whatever. You lose if you let Ranger Suarez walk. I mean, because you're talking about the idea that you can't run it back and you got to make changes, right?
Wouldn't you fire the manager?
But that's what I'm saying, because I don't see the obvious path to like upgrading the roster. It's like, well, we got to make a change. Okay, so your change is getting rid of the guy who hit 56 home runs and the dude who's been your best postseason pitcher, and the one dude in Castellanos who actually did hit the ball.
Who gives a bleep, you know?
Mets and Dodgers. So
that's the wrong things to do.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand. I mean, because I don't think that path is there. I don't think there's an obvious path to upgrading the roster, making the change with the roster. So I would have either fired Rob Thompson or Kevin Long at the very least.
Yeah, I think you should just took both of them out, anyways. Like bring in David Ross. Like there's not much managers available.
Yeah, and I don't even think
unless you want to ask Bruce Bochy to come out of after he stepped down. Would he come to Philadelphia, or is he going to go to San Francisco or San Diego, anyways?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't see what the identifiable path is to upgrading the roster that includes like just letting Schwarber, Ranger, letting those two go off into free agency. You know, it's funny how much importance we're placing on re-signing Harrison Bader now, and like his availability or lack thereof with the injury in the NLDS. You know, but you know, again, I think regardless of what happens, I do think they're firm. Where the Sixers comparison is accurate, and I'll give Ford credit for this, is that you just don't. For the people who were not feeling like this already, now it's definitely wake me up when the postseason begins.
Yeah,
you know, because that's what it's.
Unless you're going to change out Kyle Schwarber for Kyle Tucker, then we'll see. You know, because he's a free agent as well.
Tucker, I mean. Bregman, but I mean, like this hinges on like nailing like two high-profile free agents. It's like, we'll just go get these guys.
Yeah,
it's not that like
it's not that it's hard to do. Paper, It's hard to do. Plus, you have a lockout coming too that all the owners are freaking out about anyway. So,
well, imagine like being an owner and like going to the GM and being like, I have this plan, right? We're gonna let Kyle Schwarber walk. We're gonna let Ranger Suarez walk. We're gonna trade Nick Castellanos. Then I want you to sign Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker. Oh yeah. Let me just snap my fingers. Who this man? You in here for some marijuana? Connor Allen's chiming in. He says that the Sixers were aware enough to fire Brett Brown and Glenn Rivers, and they're the most tone-deaf organization. Yeah, I mean, if you believe in your roster, then you fire the coach.
Yeah,
you know, but you can't believe in the roster and keep the coach because you know
I don't. Both.
Yeah, and people use that fake definition of insanity, which is wrong. You know, nobody ever said that. I mean, that's not the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over. And expecting different results, although that is what's happening here. So I just don't. That's my take on the.
If Dave Dombrowski's fired him, and he fires Thompson, and he brings in Jim Leland. That's when you know. That's when you just throw the fire alarm on. That's going to be the worst idea of all time. Anyways, he's enjoying retirement. Anyways, he's had enough. Or be like.
Well, you know what's fun? Yeah, you know what makes me laugh, man, too, is that people were annoyed with Dombrowski because they're like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" At the end of season press conference, and he's like, "Well, you know, we won 96 games. We ran into a really good team," but he's being honest with you, right? I mean, spot the lie. What was the lie? You know, so it's funny how people ask for honesty from the coaches and the GMs at these press conferences versus getting canned crap at the podium. But the outcome, but the end result of both of those is that the fans are pissed off.
Yeah, because you lied to them.
Either way, So I don't know, man. My biggest disappointment is that we didn't get that sweet Philadelphia Phillies playoff run traffic. Flight traffic. It's been eluding us.
Or
It's 23.
Yeah, or just a fun another week of weekday baseball to get out of work, anyways.
Yeah. Here's a good segue. Joey B checking in from Fort Collins. He says, "Are the Sixers still moving forward with that new arena in Chinatown?" No,
Jeez,
that's been dead for a while. That's been dead for a while.
That was a fun episode when we had Kyle Pagan on live at the courthouse. Anyways,
reporting live. Yeah, that was the first time we've ever had like a correspondent join the show.
That's still an all-time. That's an all-time Crossing Broad moment, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, last point on the Phillies here. The Rush Joy show chiming in. He says the issue is
Rush, just get in the show already. Start yelling at us, please.
No, because then I'll have to take a bathroom break while Russ goes on like an 8-minute like diatribe about how Sam Erson his cheeks and
Should we go to the Flyers?
I just think it's like the thing with the Sixers and the Phillies. The other similarity there is that there is no escape from the Trey Turner contract, the Aaron Nola contract, the Bryce Harper contract, in the same way that there's no escape from the Joel Embiid and Paul George contracts. Like if it fails this year, there's nowhere to go. There is nowhere to go.
You can't even buy him out.
You better hope that Plan A works because there is no Plan B.
Nor C, anyways.
But in the Sixers case, they have Bob Myers in the fold now.
I saw that. That was a great news dump at 8 a.m. anyways.
Yeah. So for those who missed it, Bob Myers is joining Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, Josh Harris and David Blitzer's organization that owns the Sixers and the Commanders and the Devils and Crystal Palace. Yeah. And he's going to be basically he's a consultant.
Okay.
Right. I mean, isn't that what you gleaned from the?
That's what when I read it, as it looks like he's going to have an office somewhere at Harris Blitzer and he's going to consult all the teams anyways.
Full time to work from California and just tell a couple billionaires what they should do. I mean, is that not the greatest gig? Like you wake up, you're 3 hours behind them.
Would you rather be 3 hours behind or 2 hours behind me in the Rocky Mountains at least? Pick one.
I would take either one, man. You
give me an hour behind. Put me in the central time zone. I can just deal with everybody there.
Yeah, you go out for a jog on the Pacific Coast Highway. You eat some breakfast or whatever. The people in California don't have no concept of getting to work on time anyway.
Wait, they have Joe Gibbs Racing too, by the way. I did not know that.
Well, keep this up. Yeah, Craig doing his second bit of producing for the show. Here's the advice that Bob Myers, I think, should give to each franchise for the Sixers. Priority number one, of course, devote maximum resources in an effort to win the title. Palace is a good team. They are 6th in the Prem right now. Won a trophy. They have American international center half Chris Richards.
Okay,
I would channel the remaining resources into this club, which can finish top 5 in the Prem. We're sick of seeing the same teams at the top of the table. Joe Gibbs Racing, waste of gas. Who cares? Just a bunch of idiots driving in circles. Sorry to all the NASCAR.
Do we have NASCAR listeners? 610.
I don't know. Probably like 1 or 2 angry people who go down to Dover or the Poconos or whatever.
Shout out to Martin Truex Jr., Eagle fan as well.
Yeah, we're gonna get an angry email from the NASCAR people in here.
Upperworldpodcast@gmail.com. I'll take it this time.
What was the name of the guy who they thought there was a noose in his
Bubba Wallace.
Stall? Bubba, yeah. Not Bubba Watson, Harry. And it turned out
not
to be
Bubba
like
Crosby.
It turned out to be a pool, not Bubba Sparks. It turned out to be a pool rope for the garage door.
Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors.
The Devils are good this year, but
they're good. Yeah, they beat the Panthers last night. I was producing that bad boy. They have a franchise at least. Fold the franchise. You could probably sell the franchise. You can at least be probably 4 or 5 billion anyways out of that because you own the arena too. So don't fold the franchise. Sell that franchise.
Prudential Center, they raised it to the ground, put the savings into pedestrian bridges at the South Philly Sports Complex, which was a nightmare actually. And the new board chair of the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia says that one of his top 3 priorities is improving traffic at the sports complex, which angered the urbanists because they don't give a fuck about people driving their cars down to the sports complex. I don't blame them.
No,
they
I haven't
live in
been
the
to a
city.
game back there since 2021 anyway, so I'm trying to keep it that way. But
Yeah.
there's nothing worse than getting out of a football game at
Yeah.
where's worse? Philadelphia, Tampa, Miami,
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. So I think to circle it back and put a bow on the Sixers here, I'm firmly with Ford in the wake me up when the playoffs begin phase.
Yeah.
But I think this thing, inevitably people are going to say, well, Bob Myers is hovering and Daryl Morey's seat is warm, but it was already warm. I mean, he's hitched his wagon to these huge contracts for Paul George and Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
So you can't warm up a seat that's already a blistering inferno. So I don't think that but yeah, I mean, I'm sure people are going to say, well, Bob Myers is right there if he wants to take the GM job. If there's a direct pathway if Daryl doesn't make it through the U.
How if Bob Myers, if Daryl Morey gets fired, would Harris Blitzer talk to Bob Myers like, do you want to be president of the Sixers? Do you think it'll happen at least?
I'm sure they would. I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe he likes the idea of consulting across an array of sports here.
That's what I think.
Maybe he wants to be an NFL GM at some point.
That would be cool, anyways. I thought he should learn under Adam Peters under Washington, anyways. So
yeah. So interesting. Yeah.
No, we will not get James Harden again. I don't want to watch basketball again.
Yeah. Okay. So which brings us to Philadelphia Flyers, who I listen, man.
They're fun.
When you open with at Florida, at Carolina, home to Florida,
then
home
Winnipeg.
to I'm not gonna make any sweeping judgments about where they are right now. But first, we should establish an outlook for this year. Like what makes for a successful Flyers season in your mind?
My mind. Well, Trevor gets to go to 2 games this year instead of 1 game for the Flyers this year because they come down to South Florida twice. Just be fun. Make me want to watch you on television, by the way. That's what I like to say. I watched them in person on last Thursday night. I watched them over the Eagles Giant game. I made that business decision anyways. They were competing to most of the game until they gave up a bad goal to Brad Marchand. I enjoyed my time watching the Flyers. They weren't complete dog shit like usual, but it looks like a more modern style of hockey. Trevor Zegras doing the cool pass behind the net, gets clobbered by Bennett, another guy, for Sean Couturier one-timer. That was pretty sweet. If I get a few cool highlights like that, I'll be happy to watch. I don't know about wins and losses, but would I want Gavin McKenna? Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to happen, though. So I just want them to be entertaining anyways.
Ford's chiming in here. He says, if you want Flyers coverage, the best in the business, I go to the Rush Joy show. I agree with that. Here's what I want to see. I want this to be a bridge year.
That's what I want.
Similar to the year that the Sixers had when they were coming out of the process era.
Yeah.
I guess that was 16,
15,
17.
16. Yeah, that's correct. 16,
when
17.
Embiid finally got on the floor, TJ McConnell had the game winner over the Knicks, and you just kind of felt good about the future. They're going to come. The cap is going to be completely clean with Ryan Ellis and Kevin Hayes and Cam Atkinson and Scott Lawton.
Mm-hmm.
Those 4 guys. I mean, Ellis was on long-term injury reserve, but his final 2 years are gone now, and those other 3 guys amounted to $6.5 million of dead cap. So that's going to be clean. I just need them to get to the point where they come through at the end of the season with enough momentum that they can use this cap to be attractive enough to sign free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Zegras being one of them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, just trying to figure out what they have at the goaltender position and what they have in defense. Danny Vladar is seeing everything right now.
Yeah.
Sam
looked-
Erston, not so much,
I
but
don't want to see Sam Erston again, but Vladar looked good Monday night versus the Panthers anyway. So
I think we're beyond the point of, you know, jockeying for draft position here, because you know you're probably going to end up somewhere in the middle, and that guy's not
Yeah.
even going to make it to the NHL. So I think what you have is what you have. Bring Martone up when he's ready, get Jet Luchenko going, and go from there. But you have to make yourself. To me, a successful Flyer season is at the end of the year. The cap is clean. They've done enough winning, and the vibes have grown enough where they have become attractive to free agents who might want to sign here. As we look at the deals that have been signed for guys like Kaprizov and
Kaprizov.
Excuse me, I'm not Russian. Yeah. To see kind of like what the market's going to look like for these guys with the cap increase, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't give a flying fuck about wins or losses.
That's
with
me.
the Flyers.
That's of me right now. I'm like, if you win, mazel tov. If you lose, did you lose 2-1 or 3-1 or 5-1? If you lost 5-1, cool. If you lost 2-1, at least you were in it the whole game, anyways. You know.
Rush Joy says, "Did you guys talk about the return of Embiid tonight?" No, and I don't. I do not care.
We do not care about preseason basketball. I'll say that
Wake
for
me
sure.
up. Wake me up when the playoffs begin or the regular season starts. Okay.
I gotta ask you: do you have all the streaming service since you are an NBA guy, anyways?
You know what, man? It's a sore subject because I got like 3 notifications in 3 weeks that my price for, you know, Peacock, Apple TV, and what was the other, like Disney, they all went up from like $9.99 to $12.99. You know,
Yeah.
pre-K costs went up too. I'm giving my wife more every week for pre-K. It's like I don't have any more money to give, man.
How much money do I need to fork over for you, anyways?
I'm just getting nickel and dime to death here, man. The Inquirer's hitting me for like $35 a month.
I have a Dallas Morning News nickel and diming me too for $20. So I got to keep an eye on these Jerry Jones headlines. That's what I do. Is I take cliff notes on what did Jerry Jones say on the radio, anyways.
I think, you know, it's funny because we laughed about it. It's like, at what point do we do? When are we going to get to the point where all of the a la carte stuff that you have just adds up to the same amount that you were paying for cable? Before?
I think I'm
I
paying.
think
I'm paying $137 for DirecTV here. That's what the Sports Pass, and I don't get all the sports channels anyways.
Yeah.
I already have Amazon. So the best thing about me is DirecTV says, like, just go with ESPN Plus with the new ESPN thing with us. You're good anyways. So
yeah, you know, man, it's funny because you can't really, you know, it's everything's spread over so many different
platforms
now that it's hard to, because people always say like, well, just buy what you need.
That's what I do.
Well, okay, but I want to watch, you know, college football. I want to watch West Virginia, so I need ESPN Plus. I want to watch the Union, so I need Apple TV. You know, I want to watch UFC, so I'm going to be getting Paramount Plus when it switches to that. You know, so you can't really like
for me, it's like I have DirecTV because I don't like YouTube TV because I don't get any of the local sports channels down here.
Yeah,
I pay for Sunday Ticket. I pay for ESPN Plus through DirecTV. I have HBO Max for free for my internet anyways, which is $90 anyways.
Yeah.
And then I pay, I don't know what I pay for Amazon Prime anyway. So I was like, Peacock, you're cut out anyways.
Yeah. If you're out of market and you want to watch that NFL game on Thursday night, right? So I mean, at bare minimum, I just don't think that there are a lot of people. I would love to see if there's some statistics on this or if they did a survey, but how many like one sport or single sport people are only buying like one streaming service? I don't think that exists. I think most people are probably at like 3 or 4 bare minimum. I mean, if you're like me and you're like a dad with kids and a family and whatever, I mean, then your kids are probably going to watch
everything
Disney or Netflix or any of that, you know? So, I mean, I think we have everything in our house now, except for Paramount Plus and Amazon Prime.
Okay.
I think every other streaming. Yeah. I mean, I think we pay for every other.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous anyway.
Yeah. My 6-year-old knows how to navigate like all this stuff. She's like, I want to watch Trolls. We're like, which one is that on? She's like, it's on Netflix. It's like, okay.
At least she knows where. At least.
They're so crazy, man. They're digital natives, man. They're crazy. They know how to operate like iPads. They know how to use like remote controls and find all this like streaming stuff. Yeah,
Mercy.
it's scary. Yeah. A good segue there, actually, because they're on Apple TV, and I don't know if anybody watched any of it this year, but the Philadelphia Union won the Supporter Shield for having the most points in the regular season. Do you have a drop ready for that?
All right.
A little Bob Greasy for
Okay,
you.
okay. I could see you queuing one up there. Yeah. It's funny,
Like
man.
Tony Bruno over here is like, where's my sound? Anyways.
Yeah. So obviously the Eagles lost to the Broncos and the Phillies lost game one, I guess, at the same time. Of course, the Phillies and the Union were playing at the same time. Just always the case. Anytime something good happens to the Union or they're in a position to get some publicity, a huge Phillies playoff game happens at the same time.
And the Flyers lose the opening night too. Also. In
So,
Florida.
you get these like, we love to do the gloom and doom, like what a terrible weekend for Philly sports. And then, the Union fans are kind of like, in the corner.
about
like,
us?
well, we did
What
win
about
a
us?"
trophy. We did win a trophy. Yeah. And then you get slapped down and, 4 for 4, Mike and Mayfair tells you that nobody gives a fuck about soccer. I'm like, all right, well, so.
Or John from Mayfair would tell like, fuck soccer anyways.
So I'm like, well, listen, I mean, if we were trying to interject with the Union and like, try to get some, coverage for a team that's terrible, then yeah, I mean, you could, laugh at it. So
The only thing I
they
enjoy
did
about
win
the-
a trophy. They were number 1 in the league this year. So I don't think it's too much to ask to just at least get a little bit of acknowledgement there.
The only thing I enjoyed about the MLS this year is they brought back the throwback MLS kits from like the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, there was some cool.
I was trying to figure which one to grab. I was trying to figure which one can I wear properly. Don't hate me. I thought the Dallas Burn one because it looked cool anyways with the colors.
Dallas Burn with the horse with the stallion on it.
Yeah, I have it. So with the stripes and everything, it looks way
it's
cool
cool.
anyways.
That was a cool kit, man. They had some OG stuff back then. But I just think it's funny because it's like that was a snapshot to me. I'm like, this team won a trophy.
Yeah.
And if they can't get a sniff, from the mainstream 4 for 4 people when they win a trophy, that's probably never going to happen. And I blame MLS for putting them behind a paywall.
Yeah. That's been my big thing with MLS
know.
is the paywall thing. Like you could buy the pass thing now on your cable provider, but
Yeah.
I don't want to spend $150 on it,
No, and I don't blame people at all. So I'm
It
not,
used to be like $30 before anyways. MLS like direct kicked it was or whatever it was.
Yeah, we talked on the show before we shut it down about the fact that when they went behind the Apple paywall, they lost, Mike from Mayfair, right? Who may have watched when they were on WPHL or when they were on PHL 17, but Mike from Mayfair isn't paying the money for Apple, but
No.
who is paying the money for Apple is all of your people down there who want to watch Lionel Messi. So
Do you know how much mention they get on local radio down here?
Zippo. Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
But MLS headquarters took a gamble on that, and they said, we don't think that Bobby from South Philly really cares, and we don't think he's ever going to be a hardcore paying fan. So we're going to ignore Bobby from South Philly, and we're going to go from Carlos in Argentina because we think he's going to pay money to watch his favorite player of all time. And that was a gamble that they took that is working out for them so far, but it's really hurt us.
Yeah.
Here locally.
Or they want to see Busquets or any of your Uruguayans want to watch.
Yeah, Busquets. They want to see Jordi Alba. They want to see, are they going to sign Neymar Jr. this year? Right. So
will they sign him?
I think the thing that just bothers me, and I've learned to live with it for the most part because it's been going on for 15 years now. I don't think that Union fans do a lot of proselytizing. Like, I don't see us going door to door and being like, you must like this team. They're in first place. I mean, sure, we'll get in like the comments of Twitter or like whatever reminds somebody like, well, Union won, but I don't think that amounts to proselytizing. I mean, I think that's just like saying like, look, I mean, they played well. If you want something to be happy about when everything else is shit, I mean, like, here's a local team that won something. But I think the only thing that really bothers me about it is that people go out of their way to shit on it.
Yeah.
If you don't like the sport, you don't like the sport. It's fine. Nobody's going
It's
to
like
make
hockey
you
almost.
like it.
Like down here, it's like Panthers won 2 back-to-back cups. No one really cares, because like
yeah. Well, then the Flyers got a little bit of that treatment too, where it was like, well, they
Nobody cares about hockey, Jason.
Yeah. Like, didn't they won the they beat the Panthers at the same time that whatever it was.
They beat the Panthers on their opening night, on Flyers opening night, and nobody really cared.
And people are just talking about the Phillies loss and the Eagles loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're both the stepchild in a way, but people don't go out of their way to shit on hockey the way that they go out of the way to shit on soccer. And like, it's funny. I use this comparison. I know I shit on NASCAR earlier today, but that's it's just a topic that we got into. But I don't, if I'm scrolling Twitter or something, I see somebody talking about something I don't like. If somebody's talking about pickleball or whatever, I just keep scrolling. If somebody's talking about NASCAR, I just keep scrolling. I don't feel the need to like stop and get in that guy's comments and be like, nobody gives a fuck about this. Stop trying to make it a thing. So I don't know why we as soccer fans, as Union fans, can't just be left to like what we like. I mean, I don't know why we're under attack in this one-way street kind of way. Because I know there's people who don't like the Flyers, who don't like the Sixers, but they don't get in on Sixers fans or Flyers fans feeds and be like, stop trying to make this happen. Nobody cares about this.
Nobody cares about the Flyers, Jason. Stop. Nobody cares about hockey. Someone would say
it's like the 50 Cent meme. It's like, what do you say? Fuck me for? We didn't do anything. We just won a trophy. What did we do that was so bad? So
who does that? Who has time?
Yeah. And here's my last point on that. I mean, Jillian's right. And this is something I've echoed from the beginning is that, what does Philadelphia want from the Flyers, from the Eagles, from the Phillies, and the Sixers? They want blue-collar, hardworking guys like Aaron Rowan who break their face running into the center field wall. That is exactly what this Union team, they were built like to eschew the concept of a star player. It's a Red Bull blue-collar team. Like, that's
Red Bull. It's Red Bull football for you.
So anyway, all right. Last topic.
Are we gonna get Red Bull sponsor the Philadelphia Union? Are we gonna change it to be Red Bull Philly now?
Well, I did that joke at the beginning of the year. I made that,
which I like that joke still. I kind of want the T-shirts now.
And like people were offended by. I got a text. It was like, don't ever share that again. I'm like, no. It's first of all, we're just having fun. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Number two, that's exactly what they were. I mean, they hired a Red Bull sporting director, hired a Red Bull coach, and they played Red Bull soccer, and they destroyed most of the competition this year doing it. So we were joking, but we were also right.
Yeah,
that's what it was, and nobody's trying to insult anybody with that.
People these days.
Last topic here. This is good. I timed this out to about like an hour 10 minutes.
I love this. Anyways, I miss doing these. By the way,
no, it's fun, man. I'm happy to do it. Like we can do it every couple of weeks or once a month.
Yeah, people are
there's a demand for it for sure. So the big story in the radio wars world is that Johnny Marks replaced Mike Missinelli on middays at 97.5 The Fanatic after Mike was a shock layoff over the summer. And actually yesterday, Thursday, it was announced that Mike is going to be joining on Pattison at the Fideri News Network to do a podcast and Eagles post-game show for them. So basically what he was doing with Bet Rivers and with Jacob after he left Fanatic the first time. But yeah, Johnny Marks after a break with WIP 2 years, he goes to PHLY for a little bit. He's back at the Fanatic.
Good for Johnny Marks.
Your thoughts initially on that?
I'm cool with it, honestly. I liked him on radio. I like his style a little bit anyways, because I feel like some people have to go back to a place. I just wish you give him a co-host immediately. The rotating co-host of Harry Mays and Jason Matidis. That is entertaining for me anyways, because I grew up liking those guys, like listening to them when I was in my Cubic job anyway. So I'm glad they get back in the rotation. I'm cool with it. It gives me an alternative. If he's just gonna take callers, like, okay, I just don't want to hear all the crazy callers like the Rat Pack of the old WIP callers that got phased out to go to Johnny Marks' show. I just don't want that, honestly. I say this. I hope you reinvented yourself pretty well. That's what all I want anyways.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of hit on it. I think the biggest, effect from that shuffle is, if you look first at what Bill Colarulo's doing, 2 to 6 at the Fanatic, he's challenged has issued a challenge to WIP, and he's basically kind of taken this strategy of coming out and telling people to make the switch and saying
Which I
that
like.
saying that he's not, doing rage bait or performative, outrage radio, hot take radio and all that kind of stuff. And as you know, that's largely like the stations have acted like they don't know each other, like the other one exists. They won't even say the name of the other one. And the Fanatic has been trying to stay in their own lane. And Bill, sorry, there's a gnat here. Bill
Clip that, Craig.
yeah, he kind of changed that strategy, and he's like, I'm going to mention WIP. I'm going to go after WIP. And John is kind of done a little bit of that too as well. He responded to a tweet from Joe Giglio the other day, or a clip of Joe Giglio the other day, saying essentially the same thing. And so now there's some uniformity from like 10 to 6 on their two of their day parts to kind of like try to be the anti WIP. That's what a lot of people were asking for the longest time, was like, well, what if Fanatic just tries to go the opposite direction, be anti WIP instead of just being like Eagles light?
Yeah.
And will that be successful for them? I don't know, but I'm just glad to see somebody try something different.
Plus, you see Johnny Marks and Sean Sharif go at it on Twitter. That makes my day, anyways. My Twitter feed entertaining, at least.
Yeah, he's the Dallas guy, right?
Yes, I actually like Sean Sharif. I'm gonna tell some. I know people are gonna hate me for this. I actually like Sean Sharif. He does a good job on radio, anyways. So,
well, Rico's kind of touching on what you were mentioning here. He said Mark started to bring back the old callers, which is kind of annoying. But rather than that, whatever WIP is, yeah, it's so. I mean, when John was at WIP, he never really did the Joe Giglio and the Spike Eskin and the
no,
like the kind of takey radio. His show was
the art of the take is what what's his face would say, anyways.
Oh yeah, yeah. And John's show is always more kind of modeled on like that Howard Stern formula of like having the whack pack. Like the recurring callers, like who are some members of the Whack Pack, like Beetlejuice,
Chuck from Mount Airy.
Well, he's he's one of the local Whack Packs. But who else did Stern have?
Pete in
like
Pittsburgh.
Asian Pete, yeah, Asian Pete.
Pete in Pittsburgh was one.
John the Drunk, wasn't he one of them?
Yeah.
So he's he's got the recurring callers of those guys coming, and I've never really. I would prefer that to like, I'm so concerned about the Eagles radio, because it's like if you listen to it, it's just everybody's just concerned about shit all the time.
Yeah,
there's enough anxiety in our lives as fathers and millennial managers and husbands and all of these assorted responsibilities that we have. It's enough concern and anxiety. I don't need any more by turning on the radio.
No, I kind of like listening to rock radio now these days. That's what I do, anyways. So.
Well, speaking of music, number one, we have to send a belated rest in peace to Ace Frehley.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah. So rest in peace to him. To Ozzy, we lost Ozzy during our hiatus.
That was the one I was bummed out about lately. I've always been an Ozzy guy and a Black Sabbath guy, and how we didn't have a show. I was kind of Ozzy would struck lightning with me, anyways. All time 7 stretch, by the way, of him being drunk at the Cubs game. By the way,
the Cubs game. It's going to be a rough couple years here, man. All of the old rockers that we grew up listening to, they're going to start dropping like flies, man. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready.
Well,
ready for what the future holds here.
I did see the Who this past summer. That's going to be a bad one, anyways. When one of those guys start dropping, anyways.
No joke. I started thinking, I'm like, shit, who have I not seen yet? I don't know.
The Who I saw this past summer. I'm glad I saw them, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to give a plug here. I am at the finish line.
Also Hulk Hogan too, by the way.
Yeah, that was a tough one because I guess he was racist or something, right? So
you can take the person like you can love them in the wrestling, on the outside of the wrestling, you can say whatever you want. That's what I go by.
That's the toughest one, man. When you write an obituary and then like you're reminded that there was that one time where he made a comment about like black people or something, like, oh shit, what do we do? What do I do now?
Give me some Doritos.
Yeah.
Let me go redo that obituary.
That was tough. I got some emails about that one, but yeah, listen, man. I have a Philadelphia Eagles grindcore, deathcore, like heavy metal album. Working on. Yeah, it's done. It's at the finish line, so I'm very happy to release that for like the 5 people who will enjoy that.
Let's go.
It basically started because I was trying to learn. they've got like great AI technology now for music, believe it or not. And I was
I've
like,
heard.
yeah, I mean, I've always played music, but I've just never had the time to get back into a band.
So
since
you're the one man band then now.
well, I'm like, should I find some people? Should I start playing again? Should I start something? Because I'm itchy to start playing again. But I discovered that you can kind of scratch the itch by just like kind of writing some of your own stuff, working with the new technology that they have or whatever. And I'm like, well, they got like AI stuff that'll make songs for you now. So I'm like, let me teach myself the software and just like see what this is all about,
There we go.
And it started spitting out these like 30 or 40-second like little like grindcore songs. I'm like, wow, this is like actually pretty good. Maybe I can make like a spoof like fun album out of this, So we put like one of the songs up, like an early prototype of one of the songs up on Instagram, and it got like 20,000 plays. I was like, well, maybe there's a market. Maybe there's more grindcore and sports fans in Philadelphia than I had known,
Yeah.
So that's something I'm working on the side. But otherwise, man, yeah, I mean, Crossing Broad's doing well. The site's humming. We could go for the teams to start winning again.
Yeah.
Eagles,
Flyers, do your thing, please. Come on.
Well, it's cyclical, as you know. I mean, it's always going to be a Phillies town. Or it's always going to be an Eagles town. The Phillies, I think, are on the cycle outward here, but hopefully the Flyers fill the void. I'm curious to see like if the Flyers like start winning here, how much like level of care is there? I mean, do they ever get back to being like the Flyers of like when the Legion of Doom was like the biggest thing in town? I mean, even like when they went to the finals in 2010, people were lined up on the streets and on South Broad,
Give me that early 2000s days when they made the playoffs and they play Toronto every year, or they play like New Jersey or somebody. That's the stuff we need anyways. Keep it central, and then plus maybe that'll lead to Trevor come up anyways for a few games, or if they could do well and they play like how they copy the style of the Florida Panthers, you may have some fun hockey finally,
Well, before we wrap it up here, why don't you plug the Upper Bowl and tell everybody what you're up to?
Upper Bowl podcast. How we doing it? It's myself and Duncan Dad. We are going 2 days a week now. Main pod is usually Thursday. Is on Thursday. We drop it to Thursday or Wednesday, depending how I feel like if I want to edit it too much. Mondays is Guess the Lines and 10 questions. It's myself, Duncan Dad, and my buddy Jake Rietma. He's from Detroit, Michigan. He's from Michigan. He works at 105.3 The Fan. He's one of my good buddies in radio. We answer these 10 questions that I usually talk about. We think one of them we talked about is where do we hate the New York Giants again now? Are we at this is the era of Cam Scatterboo now, the new Jeremy Shockey with the punchable face with Jackson Dart anyways?
Yeah, those two are gonna, man. I mean, like Jackson Dart had this play the other night where Jihad Campbell was kind of waiting for him on the sideline. You know how you kind of like shepherd these dudes out because you don't want to pick up a penalty for hitting them out of bounds.
Yeah.
So what does Jackson Dart do? He launches himself helmet first into Jihad Campbell. They're like, oh, what a play.
Yeah.
By him. I'm like, well, 15-yard penalty, but I guess quarterbacks can do it because they're protected,
So we've been doing clips, and I do all the clips and we put the Guess the Lines on the videos feed onto the YouTube that you can follow at the Upper Bowl Pod on YouTube. So follow that, subscribe to that. People love that. For the guests up there as well, we've had many people like Kyle Pagan's been on it. Russ Joy's been on. A lot of my radio people I know anyways. Just a lot of good people. We like to have conversation. We like to joke around, and so much more. We like to have fun. It's like an old school like sports radio show anyways. So definitely subscribe to the podcast and YouTube show.
We're not like this is not like the Pentagon reporters turning in their press credentials here. This is just Philly sports that we're talking about. So
Philly sports playoffs we make fun of. We like to have fun anyways. It's some people may like it, some people don't like it. Anyways, I already have Dolphin fans wanting to go after me for calling Tua a snitch anyways. So that's why.
Well, we'll get to more on that ongoing saga in Miami, perhaps in the next episode of Crossing Broadcast. But it was fun to come back and do this. And, if the people want us to do another one, I don't see why not.
Just donate.
So, yeah, man. No, I mean, anytime I think there's like a crescendo of like stuff to talk about and there's a good show that we can do, then we can hop on here. I mean, it's not going to kill anybody, right? So,
no.
So, yeah, thanks for listening. And we will see you all next time, whenever that is.
Take care.